The xenobiology lecture hall buzzed with nervous chittering as Professor Kelm announced the day's special demonstration. The amphibious educator's throat sac pulsed with excitement as he gestured toward a reinforced containment unit at the center of the room. Today we examine the Rigelian phase spider, Professor Kelm announced, his webbed fingers dancing across the control panel. Native to the toxic swamps of Rigel 7, this creature represents one of the galaxy's most dangerous predators. The assembled students shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Tall, graceful Altarians folded their crystalline wings closer to their bodies, while the furry Centaurians fluffed their tails in agitation. Even the rock-like granite folk seemed to hunker deeper into their mineral shells, all except one. Jake Thompson, the lone human in the advanced xenobiology program, leaned forward with genuine curiosity. His brown eyes studied the containment unit with the same casual interest he might show a household pet. The other students had learned to give the human plenty of space after the infamous lunchtime incident, where he had consumed what they considered a military-grade chemical weapon, claiming it was merely hot sauce. The phase spider, Professor Kelm continued, manipulating the holographic display, possesses venom capable of dissolving most known organic compounds. Its ability to phase shift through solid matter makes it nearly impossible to contain using conventional methods. A collective shudder rippled through the classroom. The Altarian named Lyra's crystalline skin shifted to a pale blue, indicating deep fear. Beside her, the Centaurian student Nix's ears flattened against his skull. The specimen we have today was captured at great expense and risk, the professor added. 3 trained xenobiologists lost their lives in the acquisition process. Jake raised his hand. Professor, what's its natural habitat like, and what does it typically hunt? The question surprised Professor Kelm. Most students wanted to know about safety protocols or how quickly the venom could kill them. It inhabits swamplands with ambient temperatures reaching 200 degrees Celsius, atmospheric pressure 30 times galactic standard, and air so toxic it would kill most species within seconds. As for prey, it typically hunts anything that moves. Interesting, Jake murmured, making notes on his tablet. So it's basically a swamp spider that can turn invisible and melts things with its bite. The casual way he summarized the galaxy's most feared predator sent another wave of unease through the classroom. Professor Kelm decided to proceed with the demonstration before his students' collective anxiety reached critical levels. Now I'll activate the viewing chamber, he announced, touching a control. Please remain calm and seated. The containment field is absolutely secure. The opaque walls of the unit became transparent, revealing the creature within. The phase spider stood nearly 2 meters tall, its 8 legs ending in razor-sharp points. Its body seemed to shimmer between states of matter, occasionally becoming translucent. Multifaceted eyes reflected the classroom lights like black diamonds, and mandibles dripped with corrosive venom that ate through the specially designed collection tray. The classroom erupted in terrified sounds. Lyra's skin turned completely white. Nix whimpered and covered his eyes, and even the stoic granite folk student Rock began a low, rumbling prayer to his ancestors. Jake, however, pulled out his phone and started taking pictures. This is amazing, he said, standing up to get a better angle. Look at the way its exoskeleton reflects light during the phase transitions, and those mandibles are incredible examples of evolutionary adaptation. Professor Kelm blinked all 4 of his eyes in succession. Mr. Thompson, perhaps you should maintain a safer distance. A sharp crack interrupted him. Everyone turned to see a hairline fracture spreading across the containment unit's transparent wall. The phase spider had struck the barrier with one of its legs, testing its strength. Panic erupted. Students scrambled over each other toward the exits, their various species-specific alarm calls creating a cacophony of terror. Professor Kelm's throat sac inflated to maximum size as he triggered the emergency protocols. Remain calm, he shouted, over the chaos. The backup systems are engaging, but the fracture continued to spread. The phase spider struck again, and this time the entire wall shattered. The creature flowed out of its prison like liquid shadow, its form shifting between solid and ethereal. Every student in the room screamed and ran. Every student except Jake. The human walked calmly toward the escaped predator, pulling off his jacket as he moved. The phased spider noticed him and reared up on its hind legs, mandibles spread wide, venom dripping freely. It let out a sound like grinding metal mixed with dying screams. Jake clicked his tongue disapprovingly. "Now that's just rude," he said, approaching the creature with the confidence of someone discussing the weather. "You're scaring my classmates." With a motion so quick it seemed casual, Jake threw his jacket over the spider's head. The creature thrashed wildly, its phase-shifting ability useless against the simple fabric covering its sensory organs. Jake grabbed the creature around what might generously be called its waist, lifting it despite its considerable size. "There, we go," he said soothingly, as if handling an upset cat. "Just calm down. You're probably just confused and scared." Professor Kelm watched in absolute horror as the human carried the deadly predator back toward the damaged containment unit. "Mr. Thompson, what are you doing?" "It's obviously stressed," Jake replied, gently placing the spider back in its cage. "New environment, bright lights, bunch of strangers staring at it. I'd be cranky too." The spider, apparently soothed by Jake's calm demeanor and gentle handling, settled down in its enclosure. Its aggressive posturing disappeared, replaced by what almost looked like contentment. Jake fashioned a temporary cover from his jacket and some tape from his backpack, sealing the breach in the containment unit. "There," he said, dusting off his hands. "That should hold until maintenance can install a proper replacement." The classroom stood in absolute silence. Professor Kelm's throat sac had deflated to barely visible size. The few students who hadn't made it to the exit stood frozen like statues, their minds trying to process what they had just witnessed. "How?" Lyra whispered, her crystalline skin now flickering between colors of confusion and awe. Jake shrugged. "It's just a scared animal, in a strange place. Show it a little kindness and respect and most creatures respond positively." He paused, thinking, "Though I probably wouldn't recommend this approach with everything. Some things are just genuinely hostile." Professor Kelm slowly approached the repaired containment unit. The phased spider sat calmly in its enclosure, occasionally looking toward Jake with what could only be described as affection. "Mr. Thompson," the professor said carefully, "your species continues to confound our understanding of the universe." Jake smiled. "That's what makes xenobiology interesting, right? There's always something new to learn." As the emergency response team arrived, they found the classroom in perfect order, with the deadly predator secure in its cage and a human student casually taking notes about its behavioral patterns. The incident report would later become required. Reading at the Galactic University, filed under Impossible Human Behaviors, Volume 847. The other students never looked at Jake quite the same way again, but they also never missed another one of his demonstrations, watching from a safe distance as the human from the notorious Deathworld continued to treat the galaxy's most dangerous creatures like old friends. Professor Kelm privately noted that his insurance premiums would likely increase, but his lectures had never been more popular.